Cheers and welcome my friends, I'm Horath Drak and this is going to be my tips and tutorial video on loyalty and tyranny in Imperator Rome. If you're interested in any of my other tutorial videos on Imperator, then click the playlist link, it's in the description or at the end of the video. Now let's get to it. Let's talk about character loyalty. Character loyalty is really important. If the loyalty of a character falls below 33%, then they'll become disloyal and they try to start acting against you and the state that you control, trying to seize power themselves. If you have disloyal provinces, this can lead into a civil war. It will also lead into a civil war if that person controls more than 33% of the total army of your country. In this case, it so happens that this is the brother of the current Basileus, so the king of Sparta. He kind of raised a group of troops after the previous king died, thinking to seize power. And you'll see that over here on that with that symbol. So it says the leader is disloyal, pursues his own agenda. These guys will do whatever they think they want to do. There are a couple of ways to deal with these guys. So people will in general lose loyalty mainly if they are pretenders. That's going to be a big drag on their monthly loyalty. You can see over here, pretender minus 0.20. That is a significant thing that you're only really going to be able to overcome if you safeguard against it quite a bit. So with increased wages, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to talk about that in a second. If that happens and you have a disloyal general, you can still deal with these guys. There are various ways that you can do this with. So first, you can spend military power. If they have more than 11 cohorts, you can cause them to lose up to 6 of their cohorts, thereby reducing their army size, reducing their threat, pushing them below that 33% threshold of the entire army. You can also bribe them, which increases their corruption, and the higher the corruption of a character, the higher the wages they want. So doing this repeatedly is actually gonna push up the wages section quite high. So if you can find other ways to do this, then use other ways. The other thing that you can do with these guys is entice them to become a mercenary if they're a pretender. So this basically establishes them as a mercenary captain. They leave your country, but you really shouldn't hire them back, because then they might try to seize the throne again. If you have someone with a governor, with a office, so either a governor or someone that has a government office, you can give them free hands for an additional monthly boost of 0.25 monthly loyalty, but at the cost of also having corruption of that character going up. So this will also become quite costly in the long run. You can also friend people, so you have a couple of personal friend slots. Rulers generally have to have more, and then there are certain laws that you can also use to have more friends, especially as a tribal society. I'm not sure if that is actually a thing for the civilized countries as well. But yeah, if they are your personal friend, their loyalty will go up, friend of ruler, by 0.05. Just adding all these positive factors together will definitely make quite a difference here. You can also, for military commander, if they have a military victory, you can hold a triumph, which boosts their loyalty by 20. It also increases their popularity, which in a republic is not great, because the higher the character's popularity, the higher the chance that they will be elected into the leadership role. Maybe you want that though, but in general, for monarchy, triumphs are actually quite nice. You can only have one triumph over a certain time, and they need to have a victory. You can't just triumph them for nothing. You can also reward their veterans, which means that some of their cohorts will lose the personal loyalty. That directly improves the loyalty, because the more loyal cohorts they have, the higher the drag on their general loyalty, but it also allows you to shuffle those units out of their army. So that's that. You can also support a pretender. If you find a character like that in another realm, you can support that pretender and try to create some unrest over there. Now, the thing that I found most useful in terms of keeping loyalty up is wages. I find myself to almost always be paying the highest amount of wages, which increases them by 50%. At this point, we have certain inventions and tech advances that reduce this again, but I find this money very well spent, because 0.1 loyalty per month actually goes a long way. You're going to be able to keep everyone happy apart from the pretenders, because these guys really want the power, and you'll have to do you have to take other measures to keep the pretenders happy. But in general, I turn this off whenever I turn this on whenever I start a new game, and I'll generally keep it on. It's money very well spent if it keeps the internal stability of your realm. The tyranny rating of your ruler is going to act as a drag on all the characters' loyalties in your entire empire. So whenever you do something that can be perceived as tyrannical, you'll get tyranny, and that'll create a drag on the loyalty until it burns away. So you can get various innovations, different government forms. All these have kind of inbuilt tyranny burn, as does the ruler popularity. If you're a very popular ruler, people might be willing to let things slip quite a bit more. And yeah, in general, like tyranny, for example, you're going to incur it if you switch a governor's edict for a province. You can see that pushed up my tyranny a little bit. In general, still worth doing, but just keeping an eye on the tyranny. There is an upside to having additional tyranny, because it increases the slave output, and it reduces the PowerPoint cost for imprisoning and executing people. So, I mean, I guess you could go all the way and do this. Haven't really tried that as of yet, going full hog on the tyranny level. Maybe I'll actually do something like that in another playthrough. Then what is also going to cause people to be rather mad is if their family is scorned. Each family wants a certain part of the cake, of the national cake. They expect to get 2% of the national income. So these guys, for example, only getting 1%, and they're mad. So what you can do is either try to make sure that these guys get some offices. So this guy is actually a governor, but then the others don't really have any jobs. They're just friends of researchers and stuff. So what I could do is I could give the head of this family some stipends if I had the oratory power, and that would make everyone in that family a lot happier. Monthly loyalty plus 0.2, which is pretty nifty, but it's going to cost you quite a bit of money. So, and if you have a lot of families, that might not be a thing. You gotta very carefully decide which of these families you can ignore because they're too small and they don't have any power, and which of these families you want to butter up. And then the thing that can definitely help you with the loyalty is the ideas of your country. So we have this, for example, military administration as an oratory idea over here. This will boost the loyalties of our generals and admirals, which is quite good because these guys are commanding our forces, and if they feel irked, they might actually decide that they want to take power. I think there are also others. The monthly corruption thing is actually quite nice because it's going to kind of counteract the free hands uptick in corruption, so that's pretty good. I'm not sure if there's any more. Yeah, over here is the monthly governor loyalty, so there are definitely ideas that can help you with that. And there are also laws that you can use. So as a civilized country, you're going to have access to some different laws than as tribes. But what you can do is you can go over here, you can exempt the nobility at the cost of some monthly corruption for every character. That is quite a bit of monthly loyalty, actually, if you change the taxation to that. So that's going to keep your ruling class happy. The religious laws, this is just the monthly high priest. Might not be all that important to keep him happy. But over here, the military reforms, professional generals, will also boost the monthly general loyalty by quite a bit in exchange for some wage boost, but still very much worth it. And then there was one more over here. This is going to boost the provincial loyalty. It's not directly to do with characters, but characters that don't have any disloyal provinces will be much less of a threat because they don't have any supporters. Let's talk about province loyalty and pop happiness. So every province has a loyalty setting, loyalty level, just like your characters. Ranging from 0 to 100, and if it drops below 33, the province is considered disloyal, barring you from taking certain actions in that province. For example, using it for setting up a trade route, recruiting units, moving pops around, building buildings. All that kind of stuff is then gonna be impossible for you. You can still move pops into there, but in general it actually kind of exacerbates your ability to interact with this. The capital province is always going to be loyal, but even in a capital, even in your capital province, if a specific city, which make up the provinces, has an unrest of higher than 10, most actions will be impossible in this one. So we can't build anything, we can't build any units, we can't move any pops around. So this is kind of not helping your attempts to make your provinces more loyal. Unrest is mainly down to unhappy pops and a couple of global factors. You can see governor corruption pushes this up by 1, cultural assimilation, which is the active edict, actually increases some unrest because you're pushing people towards changing their culture. But it's mainly unhappy pops, and pops become unhappy if they don't have the right culture, which is your dominant culture, and if you're also not the proper religion and the governor isn't the proper religion. And then if you have aggressive expansion, that is also going to push the unhappiness of wrong culture pops even further. So it's actually kind of difficult to conquer if your country isn't already unified. Now, even if you don't have these options over here, you still have quite a few things that you can do to make your places more loyal. Each city influences the loyalty gain of a province. So you can see over here, the loyalty for this province is going up with an overall 0.39 each month due to local dynasties, which is a law that we have, the governor, that's our ruler, and because it is in the capital region, which in this case is Dacia, is always going to be more loyal than the rest of the empire. Let's talk about all the things that you can do to improve province loyalty. And those come down to either reducing unrest or increasing the happiness of people. So, let's just start. The assimilation edict, assimilating people to your culture, long-term, very good for your internal stability. That's gonna help because it removes that massive minus 30% wrong culture debuff, plus the problem with the aggressive expansion for wrong culture group happiness. What you can then do is you can also convert people to your religion to make them happy, get rid of that 15% debuff. You can lower your taxes to reduce unrest. So there are 3 tax settings. This is the default one. You can push it up to harsh taxation, reduces your research point, but increases your slave output. You can also drop it all the way down to lax taxes, which reduces your tax income, yes, but it also reduces your national unrest by -1, which is actually more helpful the bigger your country is. What you can then do, if you've been in a war, you can try to buy down the war exhaustion over here in the religion screen. If that goes up, war exhaustion can massively increase your revolt risk and therefore hurt your country. If you're at negative stability, each level of negative stability will add 1 unrest to your provinces. You can use religious power to increase your stability to at least 0 to get rid of that. Positive stability will not reduce unrest, unlike in EU4. You can go for an omen that reduces national unrest, like I have done over here. So that the power level of your omens depends on your religious unity. If that is rather low, then your omens are going to be kind of weak source as well. But that will kind of get improved as you convert more pops to your state religion, which you want to do in any case if you want to keep your internal stability high. Then you can also put the local autonomy edict onto a province. This costs you a lot of population output. 75% of tax of manpower is what you're going to lose here. But they will make all the local people 25% more happy, which can make all the difference. Sometimes there are trade goods that will make your pops more happy. So if we have a look at this, under the population tab, we have wine that makes freemen more happy, olives that make slaves more happy, dates that make freemen more happy, precious metals make citizens more happy, woad makes tribesmen more happy, dyes make citizens more happy, and honey improves the happiness of freemen. And then there's also the marble, which increases the province loyalty just by a flat amount, which is kind of useful. You have laws that you can change to increase provincial happiness or provincial loyalty. Namely this one over here, the tiered bureaucracy. If you're a civilized country, that will give you a 0.1 provincial loyalty each month, which is actually very, very significant. And once you've gone through all of these and you still have not managed to get rid of the unrest, then you might still be able to do something by certain events that allow you to reduce unrest. There's one religious event where the priests are complaining about people being in the temples all the time, and you can say, no, keep them open for the people, and that will boost your stability and give you -3 unrest globally. So all these things factor into the province loyalty, and all the unhappy cities in a province that have unrest will reduce the province loyalty. All the places that have positive happiness and no unrest will actually increase the province loyalty, and that's kind of how you keep your provinces happy. So you have a whole slew of options. You have assimilation of culture, you have conversion, you have lowering of taxes, you have the unrest omen, you have the increasing of stability, you have the autonomy edict, you have the laws, you have the trade goods, you have the reduction of war exhaustion. All that kind of stuff will help you keep your provinces happy. Yay, you made it to the end of the video. By now you know the drill. Click the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, ring all the bells, ring your mother's bell, and thanks for watching.